After all of that criticism, after literally trampling on the potentially dead bodies in Los Angeles, Prince Harry, just like his wife Meghan Markle, doubling down with another act of disaster tourism. I liked how the Royal News Network summed this one up, actually. They wrote, Prince Harry doing the only job he is apparently capable of doing, shaking a few hands while pretending to be royal in a country that doesn't want or need him for that, and going home to play polo in his head. And look at the pictures, of course, it's all very protected, no opportunity for any member of the public to get anywhere near him. Apparently it was all happy, but that doesn't line up at all with how the vast majority of Americans feel about the actions of the Sussexes attempting to cash in. And that is what they've done and improve their credibility thanks to the LA wildfires. And Justine Bateman, the Family Ties actress who has become one of those in Hollywood now prepared to speak out publicly against the Sussexes, had this to say to Piers Morgan.
Page 6 of the New York Post. It's offensive to Meghan and Harry that anyone would think this is merely a photo op. Meghan was born and raised in Los Angeles, so this is and always will be home to her. Her heart is completely broken for all the lives that have been lost and for those whose homes have been destroyed. They're also dedicated countless hours to volunteering long before the media even got wind of their involvement. What's your response to their response?
I don't know who these people are. I don't know why they were walking all over possible human remains because there were people missing, right? In the ashes. I don't know why there was this official mayor of Pasadena tour. The whole thing is really so out of place, so ridiculous, so tone deaf. And it was, like I said, disaster. They were like disaster tourists.
And none of it does make sense, as Justine Bateman points out, because as the Prince on X pointed out, the Pasadena mayor had told people who didn't live or work in the area to stay out. On the same day, Harry and Meghan's security team reduced the numbers and cleared out hundreds of volunteers from the distribution centre so they could do hugs and a PR tour of burned houses the next day. And I've been really looking forward to speaking to my friend Samantha Markle, Meghan Markle's sister, about this because, Sam, you are a patriot. You are a proud American. And I just wonder how difficult it has been to see your sister use what is happening in California. By the way, you also used to live in California. This is a place that you love dearly. How you feel about what she's been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think clearly it's most devastating for people who are there now and who are suffering, losing family members, losing everything they have. And for those of us also who have lived there, who love it, who, it's a spiritual thing. It's not, it's devastating for everybody. And so, I mean, I can see on the one hand how someone jumped to her defense and say, well, she lived there and she loved it. Yeah, well, I lived there and I loved it too. But I would have no business going to a disaster site and even being able to empathize. I loved it. I lived there, but I didn't lose everything. I didn't lose my dogs, family members, my home. And so it feels so inappropriate. And yeah, some people can say, well, they're celebrities. Well, a lot of celebrities didn't show up to get photo ops. A lot of celebrities did donate large amounts of money, which is what those people need. And reportedly, Harry and Meghan didn't. So, if they showed up with photographers, oh God, how hurtful and tacky, in my opinion. And someone said, well, she gave out bagged lunches. She gave out, apples. Pardon me, but those people are devastated. They don't need apples. They don't need you to give them bananas with writing on them that says, be strong. And again, they're not politicians. They don't have royal authority to be there. They're not celebrities that really could change anything that's going on there. So it really feels like nothing more than a horribly insulting photo op. Justine Bateman is right. Disaster tourists. Uh, there's, yeah.
And do you feel almost as if yeah, the problem is America's really turning on these two now? Do you feel like she's actually giving the Markles a bad name? I mean, Meghan used to moan all the time, didn't she, about how your family were embarrassing her. But Sam, isn't she the embarrassment now?
Yeah, exactly. And, for her to reportedly claim that her heart is broken because that was her home, it was everything to her. What about our father who gave her everything, made her, who she is from her first breath to, meeting Harry? Every moment, every nuance, every experience, everything material. Wouldn't she be brokenhearted because he had 2 heart attacks and a stroke? No, no, no. I'm really feeling like this is definitely a one tear left eye go moment and bad method acting. It doesn't fly. And I think the world recognizes it, but people are actually hurt and offended by this little stunt.
Big time, big time. And you're so
Yeah.
right to point out that the method acting that's been going on. At the same time, Sam, what was fascinating, and we can take a look at some of the video of it, it's very clear that there's big problems between your sister and her husband. There was no sense of unity. They couldn't even keep it together for that short period of time. What did you make of that?
We get conflicting stories. Her PR seemingly puts out stories that they're madly in love and that, like the public has no idea what's going on. And maybe it's something like this. They were both distracted. I mean, in my opinion, she was probably distracted looking for cameras and wasn't really noticing Harry because she was looking for the camera and the photo op, I think. Uh, poor, I'm not going to say poor Harry, but if they were distanced at this, who really cares? I mean, people's lives were being lost. Nobody really cares what Harry and Meghan were going through. And yet there's this focus, this really weird focus on them, like a sore thumb at best.
Have you really noticed, Sam, the change in America? Though, I mean, I know it was already changing, but look, I mean, so much has happened in just 2 weeks. Because you have this fallout from the LA wildfires, but then Trump is elected.
Yes.
He's elected in a landslide. It's not even close. America and what's going on in America at the moment is inspiring the rest of the Western world. And this victimhood, this Me Too rubbish, this DEI nonsense, which has all been propagated by people like your sister. It feels like they've lost and they don't know how to cope.
Exactly. It's like a dissonance. But I mean, I think if, for those of them who have functioning frontal lobes, they have to look at this. If those policies worked, none of this like shift and shutting everything down would be necessary. These policies were deleterious to America. They're deleterious to the world. They don't work. They harm people. They cause social chaos. And I think we have plenty of evidence of that. And so thank God Trump was able to get in and say, no more, we're not doing this. Shut this down, shut that policy down, close the borders, stop the DEI. Everything is based on merit now, as it should be in a productive, fully functioning world. And, that's a win-win situation for people. So the left have to realize that's good for them too, because how can you feel good about something that you didn't actually earn? How can you feel good about just total chaos everywhere and abortion and the gender mutilation of children. I won't get too winded, but these policies were harmful to mankind. And Donald Trump said no more. And thank God we're seeing a global shift. Other world leaders are respecting this. They're on board with it because they know it was bad for everybody. So, yeah, this is the golden age upon us. Thank God. Thank God. And I think that millimeter, on July 13th, that millimeter, I think that was divine intervention. God
Yes.
said no more.
All right, this one is blowing up, and for a pretty wild reason. Actress Justine Bateman is now claiming that Meghan Markle's public behavior comes off like bad method acting. Yeah, that's the phrase. Not just acting. Bad method acting. Now that's a serious accusation because it suggests something deeper, that what we're seeing in interviews and public appearances might not be fully genuine. And of course, Piers Morgan jumps in and he does not hold back. He's basically reinforcing the same idea, that Meghan's storytelling, her tone, her delivery, it all feels rehearsed. Now to be fair, Piers has been one of her biggest critics for years. So this isn't exactly coming out of nowhere, but it definitely adds fuel to the fire.
No
Yes,
more.
and
Yeah.
Sam, the reason that we're told, and I hear from Niall Gardner, the very good man at the Heritage Foundation, that perhaps Harry and Meghan are currently so nervous, so worried. I know we're going to come to Harry's court case in just a moment, but the reason that he potentially didn't return to the UK is because this isn't Trump from 2016. This guy means business. So all of a sudden, the prospect of Harry potentially ending up deported if he lied on his immigration form, all of a sudden that prospect feels a bit more real, doesn't it?
Well, it's not just that. I think people are too quick to forget that Harry and Meghan both were using royal titles against the Constitution, campaigning against Trump,
Yes.
getting involved in politics
Wanting
when
to overturn
the
your
Constitution prohibits it.
beautiful, wonderful First Amendment, Sam.
That's right. Harry working with the Aspen Institute and Archwell, both joining together to end what they call misinformation, but we call that censorship. And, don't tread and shall not be infringed. I mean, this is our First Amendment freedom of speech. And so for him to use his royal title to work for the Aspen Institute to undermine that, no. There's a lot more than just lying on his immigration papers here. And that's what you call a royal rogue or a rogue royal. He's overstepped his boundaries. And it's not like, all of a sudden he's surprised to hear that. Several congressmen asked the Queen Elizabeth II reportedly, to strip their titles because of that. And campaigning against Trump, being friends with Joe Biden. And, that's salient knowledge. But the bottom line is, he can't do that. They're not authorized by the royal family to globetrot as politicians. They're not qualified. And that's why the Constitution prohibits it. It is a conflict of interest that can potentially cause strains on foreign relations. And I think that's what we've got going on here, unless someone throws his spike belt down. So if deporting him is a way of accomplishing those boundaries, then I applaud President Trump, and many have suggested that.
Yeah, and the thing is, Sam, it annoys me when people are saying, oh, they're not royals, that's why they shouldn't have done a walkabout like that. They shouldn't have done the LA fires disaster tourism. Because the royals would never have done that. The royals have class, and the royals, by the way, never, ever want to interrupt first responders doing their jobs at a time of great national emergency. There's no way a member of the royal family would have conducted that sort of disaster tourism. They would have waited, and they still wouldn't have turned up, Sam, because actually the fires are still raging. It's not safe to do so. And anything that stops first responders actually doing their job is completely inappropriate. So the idea that the royals would ever have done what Harry and Meghan did is so wrong. They wait until it is appropriate.
Since they were using PR, I mean, I think it all begs the question, if they really cared, rather than show up for a photo op, where's the significant monetary donation? These people need financial resources. FEMA obviously wasn't stepping in soon enough, and we don't know what those amounts are, but celebrities, thank God, were contributing millions, knowing, the degree of need here. So I can't believe that Harry and Meghan would be that clueless to think that a bagged lunch and a pat on the head would help these people at all.
Well,
In
Sam,
fact, I
as
think,
I pointed
yeah.
out here to Chris Shipp, who is the royal editor of Woke ITV, but is effectively Harry and Meghan's propagandist, this guy has just been given between 10 and 20 million pounds from Rupert Murdoch. He says it was never about the money, Sam. Where's the announcement that all of that money is being donated to the LA wildfires cause?
Exactly. And I heard that Prince William took his portion of that and donated it to charity.
Yes.
So the world waits now for Harry. Be the humanitarian that you say you are.
But they're not humanitarians, are they? It's all about the money.
No.
We're not going to hear anything from them, Sam. I mean, I think they're probably donating a meager sum because they don't actually have the money. They are facing big financial issues. And in fact, Sam, I do think that is probably quite a lot to do with the Pussy Prince, as I now call him, folding in his battle with Rupert Murdoch and News Group newspapers. Lots of reaction to this overnight, Sam. Piers Morgan posted, so moral crusader Prince Harry took the cash. Will he now be issuing a full and unequivocal apology to the royal family for his own serious intrusion into their lives for personal gain? Or is royal intrusion absolutely fine when he does it? What a hypocrite. And what's really interesting, Sam, is it has now emerged, and we can show you this report actually from the BBC, that the Sun and Rupert Murdoch was surprised by a serious approach from Prince Harry for settlement in recent days. So this was him who wanted to settle. Now, Salty Duchess on X suggested that Harry was having a major wobble and terrified of being put on the stand when his team learned NGN would be raking up all his party days and excessive drug use. As usual, Harry overpromised and underdelivered. Hashtag Prince Harry is a hypocrite. And I mean, Sam, let me tell you, I was prepared. I was preparing. I was going to be in court giving evidence against Prince Harry a week today. And I would have loved being able to deliver some home truths to him. So what's fascinating is all of the mainstream media who are completely in the tank for Prince Harry are trying to portray this as some sort of great victory. But actually, Sam, he bottled it. He took the money and ran. And I think clearly they are facing financial difficulties, aren't they?
Yeah, reportedly. And I wondered too, yeah, you would have loved to have been there. And I think a lot of people would have loved to have been there. And I think the discovery would be priceless. And so maybe that's why it was better, in my opinion, for him to just settle and cap everything because, and I heard that like thousands of emails were reportedly deleted. So I was like, don't let all of that come out. Let's just hurry and settle. Who knows? But it's pathetic. It is. So if I think it's kind of sad if they need to do stuff like this to be relevant. There's a lot more going on in the world than relevance. There's, my God, we're facing now, well, thank God, the golden age, and a lot of these global crises are coming to an end. But I think still there are more important things going on in the world than Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, big time, big time. And the thing is, he just proved himself, I think, to be nothing more than talk. Nothing more than talk, Sam. The Dragon Slayer turned into the Frog Prince.
And I don't think apologies will ever work. So if he thinks he can apologize to the royal family, oh my God, once, twice, three times, the list goes on. So I feel like he's there up a creek without a paddle. But as many have said, their own behaviors have caused this. They're not victims. They need to, it's time to grow up and be accountable and be human and feeling and present in the moment. My God.
Well, of course, because all of the stories that I broke on Harry and Meghan was because they were acting completely despicably. And the late
Yeah.
Queen was horrified by their behavior. Prince William was horrified by their behavior. Catherine was horrified by their behavior. King Charles and Camilla were horrified by their behavior. I mean, come on. As you say, it was their behavior which prompted this. But Sam, I think we can have a little laugh, actually. Let's have a look at Harry. When he went to the New York Times Deal Book Summit only a few weeks ago, and he was all talk. He was all talk. This isn't about the money. And this is why when people in the mainstream media try and present this as some sort of victory for Harry, I think they're just delusional, didn't he, Sam? But I mean, come on. We should just be laughing at him. You're right. Your reaction is completely right. Let's just laugh at him, right?
I can't believe accountability is even in his dictionary. Wrong word. Yeah. No intersection, I don't believe. So, I mean, everything that's transpired, Spare, Netflix, all of the damage that they, in my opinion, have knowingly and recklessly done, playing the race card, doing so much damage there, even not just in Great Britain, not just here, but that had global effects. Where's the accountability for that? And then they went and retracted it. Oh, we really didn't say that. It's like, thank God. And that's why the Constitution prohibits this, because you've got rogue royals running around with titles like bulls in a china shop, not authorized, doing damage, just throwing things out there to see what sticks. Oh, but we really didn't say it. We really didn't mean it. Yeah, well, you've done the damage. Accountable? Right. Let me get out a mountain of popcorn. I got to see how this plays out now, because I don't think he's going to be able to dig himself out of this.
And then things get even more personal, because now we've got commentary from Meghan's own family. Her half-sister is being brought into this conversation, questioning Meghan's public narrative and suggesting there's a disconnect between image and reality. Now look, family disputes are messy, and they're not always the most reliable source. But when they get added into a story like this, definitely makes headlines. So here's the bigger question this video is pushing. Are Meghan's emotional moments real, or are they being performed? That's where the method acting comparison comes in. The idea that she's not just telling her story, she's playing a role within it. Now that's a bold claim, because it shifts the conversation from disagreement to authenticity. And those are two very different things. So why is this everywhere right now? Simple. It combines celebrity, controversy, and a really provocative label. Calling someone a bad actor in their own life story? That's going to get attention. And just like always, people are split. Some are agreeing with the criticism. Others are saying this is just another coordinated pile-on. The reaction is exactly what you'd expect. Completely divided. One side says, this explains everything. The other side says, this is unfair and exaggerated. And in the middle, people just trying to figure out what's actually real. At the end of the day, this bad method acting claim is just that, a claim. It's an opinion. A very strong one, but still an opinion. There's no hard proof that Meghan is performing her life. But there's also no denying that her public image is constantly being analyzed and questioned. And that's the reality of being one of the most talked about figures in the world.